Let's talk about the final X, Y, and Z episodes that have been confirmed so far.
Pokemon! 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 Pokemon!
Hello everyone, I'm Dustin Benzel, and welcome to another Pokemon X, Y, and Z anime discussion. Now before I get into this particular video, I'm sure you have one question. Where is my Team Flare arc finale conclusion at? And you have a fair point. I'm still working on figuring out how I'm going to present that. I am going to make two videos, like I said in before when I was talking about it. I was going to split them in two, but I'm not entirely sure how to do it properly. Uh, and so I'm working on that. I need to watch the finale a few more times. I need to work heavily on notes, and then when I feel confident enough to do it, I will of course talk about those particular episodes, and of course you'll see them. So they are coming. But we're getting too many new titles and too much information in regards to revealed things that I decided that I'm just going to go ahead for right now, skip the Team Flare arc conclusion, as I'm still trying to figure out what to do with that finale, because spoilers, it was a very good finale and I want to do that conclusion arc justice. So, of course, let's jump right into the episode that will air in less than a week. And, of course, that's on October 6th, which is XY&Z episode 44. We start at 0, Clement's decision. I don't know if I quite brought this up. I don't know if I talked about Clement restoring the gym and repairing Citroid or Clembot, who was destroyed in the Team Flare arc, as you've seen that review. And of course, the gym is going to finally be reopened, and a boy visits Clement, and he says he's there to challenge Clembot. And then, of course, we get Clement's decision. But what I didn't talk about, maybe, if at all, was Pokemon Fan had a lot of information on this, as well as something else. So, of course, what we see in Pokemon Fan, and I will, of course, maybe touch up on the trailer, is we see a brand new Clembot, I believe, battling. We see Clembot with a trainer, and then we see what looks like Clement and Clembot. So, of course, Clement is working on Clembot. And, of course, it says 3 Super News reports on TV Anime Part 2. What are Serena and Clement's next goals? What do the two aim for now that they've returned from their Kalos adventures? The first step towards restoring the Lumiose Gem. Clement has returned as a gym leader of the Lumiose Gem alongside the Citroid, which has served as a substitute for a long while in order to accept challenges from trainers. The Citroid lost its memory in the fight against Team Flare. It has now been reborn. The Citroid once again battles Alba, a trainer that lost to Clembot Citroid once before. And then in the other one, we have, this is for all of them, we see Alba, we see Meyer and Clement, and we see Clement working on Clembot. And then that particular image says, Clement has been busy restoring the gym and repairing the Citroid the day before the gym reopens. A boy comes there and challenges the Clembot Citroid to a rematch. The Clembot is getting restored as well. The boy challenges the Clembot to a fight. Clement is unsure about whether or not he should accept the challenge. So, of course, this is going to be where, like, if you remember the finale, not the finale of the Team Flare arc conclusion, but the episode that Clembot sacrificed itself to save the blue Zygarde core that was 50% at the time and under control of Team Flare. Something that Clembot said was that Clement was the electric type gym leader, and that he knows what he's doing. So I'm really sure, I'm thinking that Clement is going to go ahead and, of course, choose to be the gym leader again. So, of course, let's quickly go over the preview of that particular episode, and we'll go and discuss a little bit of what it is. And, of course, in the preview, we see Marin. I believe we see Marin. There's like, we see Clement working on Clembot. Then it cuts to Marin, Serena with Braixen, Chespin, Ash, Clement, Bonnie, Dedenne, Pikachu, Chespin, and Pancham. And I'm assuming Alon is going to be in this episode. At least I'm assuming. I don't know what the voice cast is for this particular episode, since it hasn't come out yet, or it did come out recently, the past few days, but I just never got back into it. So, of course, let me just check real quick, see if there's anything in regards to the VA list. Yep, Alon is there. Sycamore is there. It doesn't look like the Sawyer could be there because he's voiced by Aiku Utani, who does Pikachu. But it doesn't look like Serena, Tierno, and Trevor are going to be there. But that's fine in regards to that, because they might be showing up later, and I'll get into that in a moment. So, yes, Alon will be there. So I think this is where Alon and Marin will like say goodbye to Ash and company, and then that will be the conclusion of Alon as far as I'm aware. That's what I'm assuming, and I think a majority of this episode is going to revolve around Clement deciding that he's going to take over as the gym leader. He's not going to let it be Clembot all the time or whatever, or maybe it'll be like a co-gym situation where he and Clembot will both be the gym leader. They'll just take turns, but Clement isn't going to go off traveling with some person and go on an adventure, because he's going to probably stay at the gym. That's what I'm assuming. And then, of course, let's move on to the next episode. On October 13th, XY&Z episode 45. One last battle with Ash, Serena's choice. And of course, we get this Pokemon fan magazine, and of course, it shows Shauna and Serena doing things with their Pokemon. We see Ivysaur, we see Flabebe, and Sylveon and Braixen. I don't know if, I think Shauna has other Pokemon, but I don't see them. But she's doing this nice Tri-Pokelon or Pokemon showcase, and of course she has her Pokemon and she's doing this. So let's see what it says in regards to that. What are Serena and Clement's next goals? What do these two aim for now that they return from their Kalos adventures? A new start as a Pokemon performer. As Serena's torn on what she should do next as a performer, Ash proposes a Pokemon battle. What will Serena do? Performing together with Shauna, Serena's dream is to make everyone smile. Pikachu fights Braixen in a battle where they both give it their all. So, another Pokemon fan doesn't reveal that much, but it says here, in order to cheer up the exhausted residents of Lumio City, Serena organizes a special Tri-Pokemon performance. It seems to be a fun show. After an unexpected turn of events, she decides to battle Ash, which completely contradicts Ash proposing a Pokemon battle. Unless it's saying that after an unexpected turn of events within the Tri-Pokemon, she actually agrees to battle Ash. But the point here is this is going to be Serena deciding what she wants to do with her life, whether she wants to continue with Tri-Pokelons, Pokemon Showcase. Maybe we'll see Palermo in this particular episode. We know Shauna will be in this, so I'm expecting Tierno and Trevor, and maybe we'll see Sawyer as well in this episode. Like I said, I think Alon's going to be gone, so I don't think we're going to see Alon in this particular episode. So that's that particular episode. Not much I can say outside of, I believe Serena will, of course, choose to do Pokemon showcases. She'll battle with Ash. I think Ash will win, which would make a lot of sense. Maybe we'll get some goodbye with Shauna, Tierno, and Trevor in regards to Ash, and that will be that particular episode. So, let's jump into what is probably going to be my least favorite episode of the episodes announced. Because I know, not 100%, but a good percentage know that this episode is going to anger me greatly. And of course, that's the October 20th episode, XY&Z episode 46, Farewell Ash Greninja, Xerosic Strikes Back. Now, to be clear, if all that happens, and this is me being objective here, not biased, but objectively speaking, if at most they literally do not, or if it's literally the case of Greninja being unable to use the Ash Greninja form, I will be more okay with this episode rather than Greninja dies or Greninja is released and we never see it again. If Ash Greninja is going to lose its form, then I still want Ash with a Greninja. That is the only way that I will be marginally okay with this episode, is if Ash still has Greninja, but not Ash Greninja form. If Ash releases Greninja, or Greninja dies, then there is no amount of apology that the writers of the Pokemon anime could ever do. I don't care if they give me Jangmo O and it's Ash's strongest Kalos Pokemon at this particular point in regards to the Alola region, and it goes up against Cynthia's Mega Gardevoir, and actually they knock out each other, okay? There is nothing that they could do that I would ever forgive them. I'll still watch the anime, but I will never forgive them if they outright release Greninja or Greninja dies and Ash no longer has. The best outcome in regards to losing the Ash Greninja form is if Ash still gets to keep Greninja and it's sent to Professor Oak at the end of the 6th generation anime. That is the best outcome I can think for this episode. Otherwise, let me explain to you why I hate this episode's existence. Okay, but first, let's talk about Pokemon Fan and some blurbs here. Is this the end for Ash Greninja? Everyone thought the Team Flare incident was over, but Xerosic, who escaped during it, has once again started making a move. Ash and Ash Greninja challenge him to fight to stop his terrifying ambitions. Remember earlier when I was talking about a Greninja-like episode and how I said it would have been nice if Ash Greninja was sent back in time and stopped the ninja war that happened, which was the hero Greninja that we learned about in the Ninja Village, and how we got slightly explained in regards to that. Yeah, I would have preferred that episode over to this. Even if Greninja were to teleport back in time, if Greninja doesn't end up with Ash, I'm not gonna care. So anyway, in this image we see Greninja using its Mega Shuriken or whatever. We see Malamar with Xerosic. We see Xerosic having something, and we see this red Ash Greninja form or whatever. And then pretty much the same thing in the other image or whatever. But then there was this TV trailer sort of thing that had Ash hugging Greninja, and so I'm not entirely sure what that means or whatever, but I'm not quite happy. So Ash will definitely stop you. Xerosic aims to form Neo Team Flare. He gathers Zygarde Cell in order to fulfill Lysander's ambitions. What are the powers Ash Greninja hides? For the sake of Colossian peace, Ash Greninja's powers. And then in that other one, it was blurbed, Greninja runs wild, battling plants. That better not mean Ash releases Greninja outright. That better not be what that means. And it says Rosic shows up. I'm really hoping the Greninja running wild is just Greninja by itself battling plants and Ash is trying to get to Greninja. Now, here's the problem with this entire episode. Like I said, objectively, the best outcome is just Ash Greninja form being destroyed. My issue with that, however, is it makes no damn sense. And I could have made that a little bit worse, but it makes no sense whatsoever. One, for the sake of Colosian peace, Ash Greninja's powers. I'm pretty sure that Ash Greninja isn't the reason why these bad guys keep doing the same thing. There is literally no way I can think of that sacrificing Ash Greninja's powers will somehow keep Kalos safe, unless somehow Ash Greninja is allowed to keep its Ash Greninja form, but stays in Kalos to protect everyone. So that means without Ash, it can have its Ash Greninja form and run wild and defeating everything. That is literally the only way that could possibly make sense, but that's annoying because that would mean that Greninja would be released. Not like I said, you did this with Gudra. I thought you writers would have realized that that was a very stupid mistake and you wouldn't have done it to another one of Ash's Kalos Pokemon. So yeah, I'm not happy if Ash Greninja or Greninja gets released. Now the other problem that I have is that it goes back to my other criticisms in regards to Ash Greninja. It's a great form, but the way that they're treating it is that it's obviously only anime. It's anime only. Hello, quick edit here. Apparently, it is confirmed that Ash Greninja will be in the games. So ignore that I said that it wasn't in the games or I thought that it wasn't in the games. It's going to be in the games, and of course, there will be a video about it later. But for now, let's continue this particular video. And that really irritates me. I don't like it when the Pokemon anime takes that drastic creative liberties. Well, we can't give them an old generation that can Mega Evolve because we want Greninja, the most popular Pokemon apparently, to be Ash's main ace in regards to the whole entire series. So what can we do? Let's just make up some random form that Greninja can have. We'll lazy explain it called Bond Phenomenon because that obviously doesn't matter, because in the end, Greninja is not going to have that form at all, or it's going to be outright released and we'll never see it again. That is my problem. This episode makes it perfectly clear that they had no business adding Ash Greninja into the plot, and that they obviously would have. I would have preferred Ash capturing a past generation Pokemon. Sorry, Noivern, I don't want you to go away. I would have preferred you've done better. But if it meant Ash getting a Keystone and a Megastone, I would have preferred Ash's main be one of those Mega Evolutions and have Greninja just be a secondary powerful Pokemon. Sort of like if Ash had Charizard and Sceptile on the same team. Obviously, they're both strong, but one would have a higher hierarchy in comparison to the other. And you know, I can understand, you know, they probably had no choice but to have Ash Greninja because of various reasons. But getting rid of Ash Greninja form, destroying it for the sake of Kalos peace, or to outright release Greninja is bull crap. I'm willing to accept Ash Greninja as an anime only concept only if it stays. Not on Ash's team necessarily, but stays a concept that Ash has access to in that case. If he outright releases Greninja, then what was the point? Ash wasn't going to win the Kalos League, and even though I agreed that it made no sense for Ash to win the Kalos League, but you're going to do Sun and Moon anime the way that you're doing it, and you're going to completely erase Greninja. That is why I absolutely hate releases. I get some of you out there probably don't like some of Ash's Pokemon and wish they never existed. I don't feel that way. I am perfectly fine with them staying in Professor Oak's, and then if all we ever get is a cameo in the future, that's fine. As long as it's still Ash's Pokemon that he still has access to, that the writers still have access to, that is fine. I get very attached to Ash's Pokemon, and I don't like releases because while it may make some sense, it overall doesn't make any sense. These are Pokemon that we have watched for quite a few episodes. To throw them away like trash, and that's exactly what the writers are doing for Ash Greninja right now, unless Greninja is still allowed to be on Ash's team. They're treating Greninja like garbage. One of Ash's probably most famous Pokemon, unless you're a Gen 1 type person and like Charizard, and you have third generation Sceptile on your mind, and maybe even Infernape, I would say that Greninja did cement in one of Ash's most popular, most important Pokemon. To completely release it, to outright release it, for some bull crap storyline, just to justify its release, is treating it like trash. And therefore, I will never forgive the XY&Z anime series if they outright release Greninja. The best of both worlds is Ash Greninja itself is separated by some machine and stays as some sort of mythical shadow clone, while normal Greninja still gets to be with Ash. That is probably the best of both worlds. Ash gets to keep his Greninja in base form, and Ash Greninja gets to run around and represent Ash and Greninja and fight off all the evil teams that would probably take over the Kalos region. That's probably the best of both worlds here, and is preferable over just Greninja losing its form and being oaked. But like I said, I would be objectively okay with that. If Ash gets to keep Greninja, I will be objectively okay with that. But should October 20th come down and Ash outright releases Greninja, I think you're going to know what my reaction is going to be. I won't show that reaction in regards to my video, but I will have the reaction you expect. And like I said, this will be one of those things that no matter what the writers do, I will never forgive them for this. I will never forgive them for outright releasing Greninja and just moving on like Greninja was a piece of trash that they had access to. I'm really want to be optimistic in regards to this episode, and that's base Greninja still continuing with Ash. That is the best I can hope for in regards to this episode. Let's just move on, because I'm sure you're done with me getting angry and upset. So let's go into what likely may be the last episode of the XY&Z series, but there's no guarantee. But it's the most recent episode we have, and that's in October 27th, XY&Z episode 47. And of course, that is a zero with no end till the day we meet again. Ash and others head to the airport to set off their new adventure, but Dedenne does not want to say goodbye and ends up running off. Is this really the standard for goodbye episodes? Some whiny brat. I don't mean to call Dedenne, Piplup, or Max a brat, but does there really have to be a, I hate saying this, but a crybaby? Is that really what we need to waste an episode on? Instead of reminiscing over everything that we've gone through in an adventure, we really need someone who doesn't want it to end and cries and runs away. Like Max, almost. Even though he was fine in the end of the Hoenn region, he wasn't fine at the end of Battle Frontier. And then we had Piplup, which was kind of very annoying since that was pretty much the last episode of that. Because right after that, we saw Brock and Ash separating. The only one that I totally forgot about was Unova, but I don't know what that was. Hey Ash, we're going to go to Johto for some magical reason. While you were in the bathroom taking a giant dump or whatever it is you were doing in there with that magazine that you had, me and Iris decided we're just going to travel to the Johto region together because, well, we don't know why. We're just going to do it. I mean, Iris at least had Claire, so that makes sense. Me, I've decided that you're from Kanto. I think I've learned enough about the Kanto region from you. I'm just going to skip that and go to Johto. So, bye-bye. What? But then again, I feel like that's a little bit better than another crybaby running off because they don't want to say goodbye. It's a very annoying plot because when it happened with Piplup specifically, it wasted so much time and it was just about Piplup. And then of course when we get to the Kanto region, we see Brock and Ash being like, "Hey, we're good friends. Maybe we'll see you in the future." And then they went their separate ways, and then that was it. And then that was the end of 4th Gen, which I didn't quite like. I'm hoping there will be one last episode in regards to this. One other episode in regards to this. And I want an Oak Slab episode. I want Ash's Kalos Pokemon, minus possibly Goodra, and we're not going to talk about the other Pokemon that might be released. But I want to see it with all of Ash's Pokemon. I want to see Ash's Pokemon again. Maybe we can get some cool last-minute evolution from one of Ash's past generation Pokemon and blasting off Team Rocket again. You know, and then be like, "Oh, wow, Ash's blah 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 evolved into blah blah blah." That would be really nice, but I'm not really looking forward to this episode. If you know what gets released in the previous episode, I will look forward more to this episode than the potential release episode that I'm not happy that could exist. So there's that to consider. So I think that's all I'm going to say in regards to this particular discussion. Look forward to my particular Team Flare review episodes that I will get up. Hopefully I'll record them before the next episode and work on them and release them. And then, of course, expect my Clement's Decision episode, which will be airing in less than a week. So that's all I have to say in regards to that. So thank you for watching. I'm Dustin Benzel, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.